The 2011 Husqvarna TE 449, TE 511 and TC 449. Husqvarna has always strived to innovate and bring new ideas to the world of off-road motorcycles. Now, as always, the motorcycle brand with the longest tradition in the world in the off-road sector is fully committed to the ongoing research and development of the perfect off-road bike, easy to use, ready to race and easy to maintain. The design of the new 449 511's range outstrips that of other off-road models and stands out immediately for its looks, exclusive layout and cutting-edge technology. A range of Husqvarna Special Parts will be available, developed by Husqvarna to provide the best combination of lightness, durability and performance to allow Husqvarna fans to personalize their bikes and offer them the ingredients for racing success. Press release: TE 449, TE 511. Design and layout. The line is completely new, slim, svelte and refined. The single-piece side panel runs from where traditionally the fuel tank would be, all the way back to the rear mudguard, allowing the rider free and unhindered movement. There is no chance of snagging boots or jeans on the edges of the panels with this design. Besides the aesthetic and ergonomic aspects, the new design also makes maintenance easier as the air filter, rear shock and throttle body can all be accessed with ease. The long seat, which runs from the rear mudguard to the steering head, offers completely free longitudinal movement. Aesthetics, technology and serviceability too. The graphics on the side panels are applied using the in-mold design technology for increased resistance to wear, and the 2-liter fuel pump housing is transparent so that the remaining fuel level can be easily monitored. Masses and center of gravity. The idea behind the TE 449 511's range is mass centralization, to keep the weight of the bike concentrated as close as possible to the center of gravity and to design a chassis which adapts perfectly to the demands of competitive enduro racing. The crux of this concept is the union of the rear wheel swing arm pivot point and the gearbox output shaft sprocket. This solution, which Husqvarna calls CTS Coaxial Traction System, eliminates the variation in the length of the chain during rear suspension movement, minimizing the effect of the final drive on the bike's handling. This solution allows a longer swing arm whilst still retaining a wheelbase similar to our competitors, ensuing greater traction, which for enduro means tangible advantages. The chassis layout allows the modern DOHC engine to be mounted closer to the center of the bike, whilst tilting the cylinder further forward allows a long and straight air intake path at the same time as keeping the center of gravity as low as possible. This has also meant that the throttle body and fuel injector nozzle can be mounted in the ideal position. Again, continuing the theme of mass centralization, the 2-part fuel tank design provides a total of 8.5 liters capacity in a low-mounted 2-liter pump housing and a 6.5-liter under-seat main tank. The under-seat fuel tank layout permits the airbox to be located in a protected and fluido-dynamically favorable position above the engine, with the actual air intake being at the height of the steering column, in a raised and sheltered position to minimize the intake of dust or water. The air filter box has an elongated intake manifold and a newly designed air intake to provide greater breathability for the sponge filter, which is easily removed thanks to a hinge system in the airbox. The battery is located adjacent to the under-seat main fuel tank to again centralize the mass. Reference performances. The TE 449 511's bikes are equipped with a cutting-edge 4-valve dual-camshaft engine which has been significantly improved thanks to the experience gained by Husqvarna in its many years of off-road racing. Fuel delivery is managed by an electronic injection system with a KN 46 mm diameter, double-flap throttle body which provides progressive and predictable throttle response. All components are top of the range. The bike even comes with 2 exhaust silencers, the Euro 3 compliant silencer fitted as standard and a steel Akrapovic racing exhaust, developed in collaboration with the Slovenian company to maximize the potential of the engine, whilst minimizing the weight. The gear ratios for both the Enduro and MX versions have been completely changed. The Enduro now uses a 6-speed transmission and the ratios have been modified on the basis of the experience gained during Salminen and Tarkala's races. The ignition timing has been optimized with maps specific to the two different capacities and exhaust systems. The TE 511 version has been achieved by increasing the cylinder bore from 98 mm to 101 mm, with the stroke remaining at 59.6 mm. The effective displacement has therefore been increased to 478 cc. The clutch is controlled hydraulically, offering a smoother and more progressive action with greater consistency also under stress. The motorcycle has a high-energy electronic ignition and, thanks to the powerful battery and fuel injection system, a supplementary kick-start is not necessary. Handling and performance. Naturally, Husqvarna's long experience in enduro racing has played an important part in the development of these new motorcycles. The challenges posed by the conception of geometry and by the general concept of the motorcycle itself were linked to the tough demands of riding in the most severe and extreme conditions. The result is a surprisingly effortless and smooth ride along with agility and outstanding steering stability. The perimeter design chassis is made of high-strength steel tubing. The geometry of the rear suspension is revolutionary, with a new linkage mounted on top of the alloy swing arm. This solution offers many advantages. It increases the ground clearance, improves general reliability thanks to the reduced exposure of the components and makes maintenance easier. But there's more. Dynamically, by exploiting the advantages of the double cradle frame made in high-strength steel tubing, the roughness of the ground is absorbed more gradually, attenuating the stresses on the rider. The advantages when jumping are also remarkable, with the recoil effect of the rear wheel being significantly reduced and the smoothness of the suspension is particularly perceivable on rougher and more difficult ground. Coaxial traction system. A real refinement in the field of chassis design and exclusive to the TE TC 449/511 range is the CTS, the coaxial traction system. This system represents an evolution compared to the one adopted on the BMW G450X. The solution, which originally used a single swing arm pivot spindle, now has two independent semi-spindles which reduce the stress on the swing arm and facilitate the replacement of the gearbox sprocket. The advantages of the CTS system compared to the traditional systems are huge. During the suspension movement along the whole stroke, the chain is not subject to any change in length. The tension of the chain remains constant regardless of the swing arm position, while the chain and sprockets benefit from reduced wear. An important positive effect on the riding characteristics is the marked reduction of the impact of alternating the load on the transmission. This aspect has been studied by a spin-off company of the University of Padova called Dynamotion, which has proved that the CTS improves traction in the various stages of acceleration and consequently during also the vertical movements of the suspension on rough terrain. The result is better traction during acceleration and surer, more confident gear changes. More in general, the values obtained by adopting the CTS have a much more uniform trend in all conditions, leading to improved rideability and stability of the motorcycle. Top-of-the-range components. The new TEs are equipped with the most advanced components in the off-road sector. For the front brake, there is a Brembo system with floating caliper and 260 mm wave rotor, while the rear brake consists of a floating caliper operating on a 240 mm rotor. The suspension is entrusted in full to the specialists of Kayaba, with 48 mm forks, adjustable for compression and rebound damping, and a Kayaba rear shock absorber designed specifically for enduro use with settings optimized in collaboration with the racing team. The tapered diameter handlebars, original equipment hand protectors, compact and efficient instrumentation, shockproof plastic engine, chassis guards, rear mudguard with incorporated racing number plate holder and LED rear light complete the fittings. TE 449/511 are also the sole standard enduro bike on the market equipped with full Akrapovic exhaust system. TC449. The Motocross version stands out not only for the normal MX chassis changes, no lights, 19 inches rear wheel etc., but above all for the engine, which has been specifically tuned for MX use, delivering significantly more power than the Enduro version. The timing and camshaft profiles are completely different, as is the compression ratio, which has increased to 13:1 instead of 12:1 in the Enduro version. The electronic injection system still uses a 46 mm Cayenne throttle body but is fitted with a single flap instead of the Enduro twin flap version to provide a sharper, more aggressive throttle response. Additionally, the TC449 is fitted with a dual-mode switch on the handlebars, which allows access to two different fuel injection, ignition timing maps to provide a softer power delivery for low traction conditions. The titanium exhaust system with carbon fiber-tipped silencer has been developed specifically by Akrapovic, and the 5-speed transmission has specific ratios for use in MX. The suspension is provided by Kayaba with multi-adjustable sealed cartridge front forks matched to a Kayaba fully adjustable rear shock.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.